Hello, welcome once again to Lehto's Law. I'm Steve Lehto. The question is your car going to get stolen anytime soon? Well, it turns out we've got a list now of the 20 most stolen vehicles in America. And I'm talking about more modern vehicles. I mean, we could talk about cars that get stolen a lot, the older cars, the easier ones to steal. But nowadays you'd think, well, cars are getting harder to steal because they've got all these security features on them, right? Well, it turns out that some cars still get stolen. David, thank you for passing the story along to me. I saw it several places. I'm going to read to you from USA Today. Nathan Bomey wrote the article that America's love affair with horsepower and trucks apparently includes thievery. Powerful cars like the Dodge Charger and pickups like the Chevrolet Silverado are among the most stolen new vehicles in the U.S., according to a new study by the Highway Loss Data Institute. Electric vehicles, however, are among the least stolen, and there might be a reason for that, which is kind of obvious the moment you think about it. The study gauges the frequency of theft, not the volume. In other words, it measures how likely your car is to get stolen regardless of the vehicle's sales. So as a general rule of thumb, newer vehicles are harder to steal than older ones because of advancements in theft prevention. But they're also more lucrative targets. And one thing that we have to talk about is some people actually make it kind of easy for thieves because, I got that newfangled Ford Explorer and it's got a key fob and I don't have to put anything to start the car. I just sit down and push the button as long as the key fob's nearby. And so some people know, well, they say, wait a second. I'm just going to toss the key fob in the car and walk in and press the button and, nobody knows the key fob's in there. They won't do that, right? You hope. The theme of HLDI's list of most stolen cars is pretty clear. These are all expensive vehicles, which makes sense, according to Matt Moore, Senior Vice President of HDLI. If you're going to steal a vehicle, if you're going to commit a crime, you're likely going to want to profit from that crime. More profit, more motive. Several pricey Dodge muscle cars have the dubious distinction of making the list. A Dodge Charger with a Hemi engine is the biggest target. It's stolen 5.4 times more often than the average vehicle, according to the study. The 2018 Charger ranges in price up to $66,000, and two other editions of the Charger are also on the list. So multiple versions of the Dodge Challenger are also among the most stolen, including the Challenger SRT Hellcat, which of course is priced at about $64,000. And it's a cool car. But don't leave the key fob in it if you don't want it to get stolen. Several pickups make the list, and of course those are becoming quite pricey these days. It's hard to buy a cheap pickup, Moore said, and it's not difficult to spend $60,000 or more on your pick-em-up truck. How are these cars being stolen? Well, that's where it gets tricky. Experts say vehicle theft is on the rise, in part because people are making it easy for thieves by leaving their key fobs in the car, which allows the criminal to use the keyless ignition without even needing to find the key fob. It's difficult to say for certain what happens to specific vehicles after they're stolen. Some are sold for parts, others are illegally exported to foreign countries, and others are illegally reported stolen even though they are not, they are only damaged, which of course would be insurance fraud. The least stolen vehicle on the list, the four-door BMW 3 Series sedan, which is 25 times less likely to be stolen than the average new car. Next up on the least likely stolen list, the Tesla Model X and the four-wheel drive Tesla Model X. So the first was the Tesla Model S. Those are 10 times less likely to be stolen than the average vehicle. One reason why Teslas might be not targeted is that they are typically charged overnight in closed garages. Makes sense. Even during the day, if you think about where many charging stations are, they're often close to buildings in well-lighted places. In some instances, protected or at least covered by security cameras. That probably reduces the likelihood they're going to be stolen. So I'm going to read to you the list of the most frequently stolen vehicles of the 2016 to 2018 model years. And again, we're not talking about older cars. This is just a 2-year period of cars, 2016 to 2018. And this is all according to the Highway Loss Data Institute. Number 1, the Dodge Charger Hemi. Number 2, the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat. Number 3, the Infiniti QX50 4-door. Number 4, the Infiniti QX80. Number 5, the GMC Sierra 1500 Crew Cab. Number 6, the Dodge Challenger. Number 7, the Nissan Maxima. Number 8, Chevrolet Silverado 1500 Crew Cab. Them thieves like those 1500 crew cabs. Number 9, the Chrysler 300 four-wheel drive. Number 10, the Mercedes-Benz S-Class four-door long wheelbase four-wheel drive. Number 11, Dodge Charger four-wheel drive. Number 12, Dodge Durango four-wheel drive. Number 13, the Land Rover Range Rover. Number 14, the Chevrolet Silverado 1500 crew cab four-wheel drive. Number 15, the Dodge Charger. Number 16, the Nissan Titan crew cab short bed. What? Number 17, the Chevrolet Silverado 1500. Number 18, the GMC Sierra 1500 crew cab four-wheel drive. And if you're stealing it, maybe you ought to bring along your crew, right? Number 19, the Audi A7 four-wheel drive. And number 20, the Infiniti QX80 four-wheel drive. So on that list were 3 Infinitis, the QX50 four-door, the QX80, and the QX80 four-wheel drive. So for what that's worth, take it to heart. The least frequently stolen vehicles. And this is, of course, where the statisticians and the sociologists will butt heads. Are these being stolen because they're hard to steal? Are they not being stolen because no one wants them? And there could be other reasons. But the number 1 on the list is the BMW 3 Series four-door, as mentioned above. Number 2, Tesla Model S four-wheel drive. Number 3, Tesla Model X four-wheel drive. Number 4, Chevrolet Equinox four-wheel drive. Number 5, Buick Encore four-wheel drive. And I don't care what anybody says. The phrase Buick and four-wheel drive should never be in the same sentence or even the same paragraph. Okay? Number 6, Subaru Legacy with EyeSight. Number 7, the GMC Acadia. Number 8, the Subaru Forester with EyeSight. Number 9, GMC Acadia four-wheel drive. Number 10, the Volkswagen New Beetle. Number 11, BMW 3 Series four-door four-wheel drive. Number 12, the Subaru Outback with EyeSight. Number 13, the BMW X5. Number 14, the Subaru Crosstrek. Number 15, the Chevrolet Traverse. Number 16, the Subaru Crosstrek with EyeSight. Number 17, the Lexus RX 450h four-wheel drive. Number 18, the Honda Odyssey. The number 19 is the Mazda MX-5 Miata. Travis Okulski over there right now going, hey, my ears are ringing. Someone's talking about Miatas. And number 20, the Cadillac XT5 rounds out the bottom end of the least frequently stolen vehicles. But again, the most stolen vehicles right there, topped by a bunch of Dodge Chargers and Dodge Challengers and things of that nature. And of course, there's a good smattering of other vehicles in there as well. Key takeaway here is if you've got a vehicle that starts with a key fob nearby, you might not want to leave it in the car because that appears to be one of the most common ways these cars are stolen these days. So there you have it, the most commonly stolen cars. I remember back in the old days, shows you how old I am, before there were locking steering columns. Think about that. There's a time when you could actually put the key into the dashboard of a car, turn it, and start the car. And of course, that meant that without the key, it didn't matter. You could still steer the car. And, so if you could get inside the car, for instance, and it was a clutch, you could always put the clutch in, put it in neutral, pop the e-brake if it's on, or the parking brake, if that's what you want to call it, and or the hand brake. And then you could push the car anywhere you wanted to, roll it away. And then, of course, it wasn't that hard to hotwire those cars, I've heard. And I've spoken to people who said that in the old days, they knew how to get underneath the dashboard and grab some of the wires that went up to where the key and the ignition was and hotwire it, jimmy those things around to get the car to start. I've seen a demonstration of it before. I've also spoken to guys who work for insurance companies investigating auto thefts, and I've talked to them about it. And of course, these things have gotten more and more complicated as time has gone on. But that's one of the scary parts, is that while these cars here might top the lists of the number of cars stolen every year, for instance, at the Woodward Dream Cruise every year, which, by the way, I will be at this year, August 17th. If you're in Southeast Michigan, or if you're planning on being at the Dream Cruise, please follow me here. I'm going to be talking about it in the near future. I'm probably just going to be hanging out. But I've had a lot of people say, Steve, if you're going to be at something like that, why don't you let people know and we all come on down and shake hands? So I'm going to be at the Woodward Dream Cruise on August 17th, but That's a huge event. I've talked about it before. I went last year and I shot some video of people doing burnouts. Actually, I might do again this year. But the cool thing about the Dream Cruise is all these people come from around the country and around the world, bring cool cars, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of cool cars up and down about a 10 or 15 mile stretch of Woodward Avenue and then bleeding out several blocks in every direction. But every year, it seems, at least one or two cool cars get stolen because thieves go, wait a second. There's going to be all kinds of cool cars from the 50s and 60s that don't have all these nifty, newfangled theft prevention systems on them. And so if somebody has a beautifully restored, but restored to stock car from the late 50s or early 60s, and literally everything is as it came from the factory, there are people out there who can walk up and drive it off 30 seconds later. So a word to the wise is that if you're going to the Dream Cruise with something like that, you're going to want to be very, very careful, or you might want to consider installing a hidden kill switch or something of that nature. But I know for a fact that 2 years in a row, a couple nice old Corvettes got grabbed from near Birmingham, Michigan at the Dream Cruise. So anyways, Dream Cruise coming up. I'll talk some more about that in a future video, but there you go. Most stolen cars in America. Questions or comments, put them below. Otherwise, talk to you later.